Have you ever stopped to think about the fragility of your bones? It may seem like something distant, something that only affects older people. But the truth is that many people live with osteoporosis without even knowing it. And worse, many of these people are ignoring crucial signs that the body is trying to give, hoping that everything will resolve itself. Osteoporosis is one of the most silent diseases that exist, and its seriousness lies in the way it hides behind simple pains, minor falls, and symptoms that are often ignored in our daily lives. Did you know that many people only discover they have osteoporosis after a fracture that could have been prevented? This type of fracture is not a mere coincidence. It is a reflection of a problem that has been developing imperceptibly, often over years. Therefore, it is essential that you know how to identify the first signs. Do not ignore minor pains, discomforts that arise without explanation, and falls that happen more easily than they should. Now, stop for a second and think, what do you really know about osteoporosis? Maybe you've heard about it, but never paid it any attention. Or maybe you think it only affects people who are over a certain age. However, osteoporosis is more common than it seems, and, most alarmingly, it doesn't discriminate against age or gender. In many cases, the initial symptoms can go unnoticed until the condition becomes irreparably worse, and that's exactly what we want to prevent you from reaching that point. It is common to believe that osteoporosis only manifests itself in old age. This is a fallacy. Osteoporosis can begin to develop much earlier, without any visible signs. Bone loss is a gradual process that, for years, may not present obvious symptoms, but it weakens the bones irreversibly. A simple fall can be the trigger for a serious and permanent fracture, with serious consequences for health and quality of life. Therefore, it is urgent that you ask yourself, are you taking care of your bone health? Are you paying attention to the signs that your body has been trying to show you? Ignoring the symptoms not only puts your health at risk, but also compromises your mobility and well-being in the long term. Worst of all, many, due to lack of knowledge, continue to live with this condition without doing anything until the damage is irreparable. Don't be one of them. In the next topic, we will explore the first signs of osteoporosis that you cannot ignore. Get ready, because these symptoms may be more obvious than you think. Now that you've started to think about osteoporosis, it's time to understand a little more about this condition and the impact it has on the lives of millions of people around the world. Osteoporosis is a disease characterized by the loss of bone mass, which makes bones more fragile and prone to fractures, even with minor impacts. And the most alarming thing is that, while the disease progresses silently, many people don't even know they are at risk until a fracture occurs, something that could have been prevented. According to the World Health Organization, osteoporosis affects approximately 200 million people worldwide. In Brazil, it is estimated that around 10 million Brazilians suffer from the condition, and up to 1 in 3 women over the age of 50 have some degree of osteoporosis. These numbers are alarming, as they show that this disease is not something rare, but rather a reality for many people, and the vast majority still do not know how to identify the first signs. The data also shows that osteoporosis doesn't only affect women, as many people think. Although it's more prevalent in women, especially after menopause, men are also at risk. According to studies, about 1 in 5 men over the age of 50 will develop osteoporosis in their lifetime. And unfortunately, men often don't receive the same level of attention for the condition, which delays diagnosis and treatment. But furthermore, osteoporosis is a major cost to healthcare systems. It is estimated that treating fractures caused by osteoporosis generates billions of dollars in medical costs each year. These fractures can result in long hospital stays, rehabilitation, and, in many cases, a significant reduction in the quality of life of the affected person. Osteoporosis is not only a physical health issue, but also has a major emotional impact, as it limits the ability to move and perform daily activities. The most dangerous thing about all this is that, although osteoporosis is widely known, many people still don't understand its seriousness and the importance of early diagnosis. The disease is silent and develops so slowly that many people only notice it when their bones are already severely compromised. That's why it's so important to be aware of the signs early on. Don't wait until it's too late. In the next topic, we'll explain in detail how to identify the first symptoms of osteoporosis, so that you can take action in time and protect your health. Now that you know the alarming impact of osteoporosis and its prevalence, it's time to understand how to identify the first symptoms of this silent disease. Osteoporosis can manifest itself in subtle ways, which makes it essential that you pay attention to your body. Often, the initial signs are easily confused with other problems, such as simple fatigue or muscle pain, but what you can't do is ignore them. Ignoring these signs can be the first step towards a serious problem that could have been avoided with early diagnosis. One of the most common early signs of osteoporosis is back pain. These pains can arise due to compression of the vertebrae, which occurs when the bones of the spine become weaker and begin to give way under the weight of the body. These pains are often confused with muscular or posture problems. But the truth is that back pain associated with osteoporosis tends to intensify over time, especially when the body is subjected to activities that involve physical effort. You have been feeling constant or increasing pain in the lower back. This may be a warning from your body. Another important symptom is loss of height over the years. Although the aging process naturally involves a slight loss of height, osteoporosis can accelerate this loss, especially in older people. This is because compression of the vertebrae can lead to a flattening of the spine, causing a person to become shorter without realizing it. If you notice that your height is decreasing, or if someone around you has made this comment, it is time to be alert to possible signs of osteoporosis. As frequent fractures, they are also one of the most obvious, but often overlooked symptoms of osteoporosis. What may start as a simple fall or a seemingly harmless tumble can result in serious fractures, such as wrist, hip, or spine fractures. Bones weakened by osteoporosis cannot withstand simple impacts, and a fall that would previously have caused no major damage may now be enough to cause a fracture. This may occur without the person feeling any immediate pain or discomfort, but the fracture can be much more serious than it seems, compromising the quality of life for a long time. Additionally, osteoporosis may be associated with movement difficulties and a feeling of weakness in your joints. If you start to notice that you are having more difficulty getting up from a chair, climbing stairs, or even performing everyday activities without feeling pain or discomfort, this is a major sign that your bone health may be compromised. Feeling weak in your legs, difficulty maintaining balance, and stiffness in your joints are all signs that should not be ignored. Finally, decreases in flexibility, mobility, can also be symptoms of osteoporosis. As bones begin to lose density, the joints and surrounding muscles can begin to lose flexibility, making simple movements like bending down or turning quickly more difficult and painful. This is because bone loss directly affects the structural support of the body, making joints stiffer and less flexible. If you notice that your body no longer moves as smoothly and flexibly as it once did, it's time to seek medical help. These symptoms, often ignored or attributed to normal aging, are the first warning signs of osteoporosis. If you're experiencing any of them, don't ignore them. Early detection is essential to starting treatment and avoiding more serious consequences. In the next section, we'll explore the consequences of ignoring these signs and why it's so important to take action now, before the damage becomes irreversible. Ignoring the early signs of osteoporosis can be more dangerous than you might think. When you ignore early symptoms, your bones will continue to weaken and the condition will silently worsen. Osteoporosis is not something that will go away on its own. It requires action and ongoing care. By ignoring the signs, you may be allowing the disease to develop to the point where it can cause irreversible damage to your health and quality of life. Failure to take action can result in serious fractures and chronic problems that will have a direct impact on your mobility and ability to perform daily tasks. The most immediate consequence of ignoring the signs of osteoporosis is an increased risk of fractures, especially in vulnerable areas such as wrists, hips, and vertebrae. As bones become more fragile, any sudden movement or fall that would previously have been considered trivial can now cause a significant fracture. Imagine suffering a fracture from a low fall or a simple stumble, and, contrary to what many people think, this type of fracture can occur even without such obvious trauma. A hip fracture, for example, can lead to long periods of hospitalization, surgery, and even loss of independence, something that could have been avoided with early diagnosis and proper treatment. Furthermore, the vertebral compression can be extremely debilitating, compromising mobility and causing chronic pain. When the bones in the spine become weak, the vertebrae can collapse, resulting in postural deformities and constant pain. This can seriously affect quality of life, as simple tasks such as sitting, standing, and even walking become painful and difficult to perform. The loss of the natural curvature of the spine can lead to a hunched posture, which, in addition to causing pain, can also affect breathing and the functioning of internal organs. Worsening osteoporosis also increases the risk of permanent disability. As bones become more fragile and fractures become more frequent, the affected person may lose the ability to perform daily activities, such as working, taking care of the house, or even enjoying leisure activities. This can lead to greater dependence on others, compromising autonomy and quality of life. In addition, the inability to move freely can have emotional and psychological impacts, such as depression and anxiety, further aggravating the condition. Another crucial point is that when osteoporosis is not treated properly, recovery after a fracture becomes much more difficult and slower. Weakened bones have a harder time healing, and when a fracture does occur, the recovery time can be significantly longer than in people with healthy bones. The rehabilitation process can be long and painful, and in some cases, full recovery may be impossible, resulting in permanent damage. In addition to all this, osteoporosis also has financial and social impacts. Fractures and prolonged treatments can generate high medical costs, both in immediate treatment and in rehabilitation. In addition, the loss of autonomy and the need for constant care can burden family and friends, placing an emotional and financial strain on everyone involved. Ignoring the early signs of osteoporosis is not only a health issue, but also a quality of life issue. If you notice any of these symptoms, it is crucial to take immediate action and seek medical advice to avoid serious consequences. The good news is that osteoporosis can be effectively treated and managed if diagnosed early. In the next section, we will discuss how you can prevent osteoporosis and what to do when you spot these signs, so you can take proactive action and ensure your bones stay healthy for years to come. Now that you understand the seriousness of ignoring the signs of osteoporosis and the consequences this condition can bring, it's time to understand how to act to prevent the disease and what to do when you identify the first symptoms. The good news is that, with proper care, it is possible to prevent osteoporosis, or, at least, slow its progression. The earlier you detect the symptoms and start treatment, the easier it will be to control the disease and protect the health of your bones. Osteoporosis prevention starts with healthy habits. Diet plays a key role in bone health, and ensuring you are getting the right nutrients is essential. Calcium is the main mineral needed for the formation and strengthening of bones. Foods rich in calcium, such as dairy products, milk, cheese, yogurt, dark, green leafy vegetables, kale, broccoli, and fish such as salmon and sardines, are great sources of this mineral. In addition, vitamin D is crucial to help the body absorb calcium effectively, and can be obtained through sun exposure or by eating foods such as eggs, fatty fish, and fortified foods. A physical activity also plays an essential role in preventing osteoporosis. Exercises that involve body weight, such as walking, running, cycling, and activities such as dancing and weight training, are excellent for strengthening bones and improving bone density. The gentle, controlled impact of these exercises helps stimulate the production of bone cells, promoting an increase in bone density and preventing excessive bone loss. In addition, strength training, like lifting weights, is highly effective in strengthening bones and muscles, preventing falls and fractures. If you notice any of the early symptoms of osteoporosis, such as back pain, loss of height, or frequent fractures, the next step is to seek medical attention. Medical diagnosis. The doctor may perform tests, such as bone densitometry, which measures bone density and identifies early signs of osteoporosis. These tests are essential for detecting the condition before it causes fractures or serious deformities. Early diagnosis is one of the most important factors in successfully treating osteoporosis, and it can make all the difference in preserving your bone health in the long term. If you have been diagnosed with osteoporosis, treatment will vary depending on the severity of the disease and your overall health. Your doctor may recommend medicines help prevent bone loss, such as bisphosphonates, which can increase bone density and reduce the risk of fractures. Additionally, in more advanced cases, It may be necessary to use hormone therapies or other medications that help strengthen bones and regenerate bones. However, drug treatment must always be accompanied by lifestyle changes, such as a more balanced diet and regular physical activity. Additionally, it is also important to monitor your general health and have regular checkups, especially if you fall into a risk group, such as women in menopause, people with a family history of osteoporosis, or those who do not exercise regularly. Seeing your doctor regularly to monitor your bone health is essential to monitor any changes and start treatment before osteoporosis worsens. Finally, never underestimate the importance of a healthy lifestyle. Maintaining a healthy weight, avoiding excessive alcohol consumption, and not smoking are factors that contribute significantly to bone health. Smoking, for example, reduces the body's ability to produce calcium and directly affects bone density. Therefore, by adopting healthy habits, such as a balanced diet, regular exercise, and eliminating harmful habits, you will be making a big difference in the health of your bones and in preventing osteoporosis. Therefore, taking action now is essential to ensure bone health in the future. If you notice any symptoms or are in a risk group, see a doctor, get tested, and start adopting practices that will strengthen your bones. Osteoporosis can be prevented and controlled, but to do so, you need to start taking care of your bones today. In the next topic, we will conclude with an important invitation to reflection and action. Now that you know the early signs of osteoporosis, the consequences of ignoring the symptoms, and the ways to prevent and treat it, it's time to reflect on the importance of taking action. Osteoporosis is a silent and gradual disease, but that doesn't mean you have to passively accept the risks it poses to your health and quality of life. The good news is that with knowledge and early action, you have the power to change the trajectory of your bone health. What's at stake is not just the fragility of your bones, but also your ability to live independently and freely. Imagine how difficult it would be to live without being able to do simple activities, such as walking, playing with your children or grandchildren, or even getting up from a chair without feeling pain. Osteoporosis can rob you of these small freedoms, but the decision to act is in your hands. Don't let complacency or lack of knowledge about the disease put your health at risk. Early diagnosis and the right interventions can make a huge difference in your life, preventing fractures and keeping your bones strong and healthy for many years to come. So if you've noticed any of the warning signs, such as back pain, loss of height, frequent fractures, or a feeling of weakness in your joints, it's time to seek help. Don't wait until the damage is irreversible. Taking action now, by seeing a doctor and getting tested, could be the key to preventing future complications and suffering. Osteoporosis doesn't have to be a death sentence, but a condition that can be effectively managed if treated early. Your bone health cannot wait. Every day you put off taking care of your bone health is one step closer to losing the ability to move freely and live life to the fullest. Start today. Review your eating habits, adopt an exercise routine that strengthens your bones, and, above all, see your doctor to get tested and have your questions answered. Preventing and treating osteoporosis is not only possible, but essential to ensuring a long-term quality of life. Remember, osteoporosis doesn't pick and choose who it affects. It affects men and women of all ages, but the difference between living with osteoporosis or not, or even preventing it from getting worse, is in your hands. The time to act is now. Don't ignore your body's signals. Take care of your bones as you would your overall health, with attention, caution, and most importantly, action. Now that you know everything about osteoporosis and how to prevent it, be sure to share this information with the people you love. The more people know about the importance of taking care of their bone health, the more lives can be transformed and more bones can be preserved. Do your part. What are you waiting for? Your bone health starts today.